All right, these task cards are for you to practice the skills that we've learned today and to make sure that you're understanding these skills. So I'm going to do 3 of them on this video so that you can see how they are supposed to work out in different skill levels. So the first one is number 1. It's x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. So we're trying to find out what x is, and so since this being a quadratic, make sure it's set equal to 0 before you start, and then you're going to factor. So a equals 1, b equals 3, c equals 2. So what multiplies to give you a times c? A times c is 2. And then adds to give you b, which is 3. Well, there's really only one option. That's 1 and 2. So using the box, first term and last term are opposites. And then the 2 numbers that we just picked, 1x and 2x. So that'll come together and make 3x right there. And then GCF of x squared and x is x. X times x gives us x squared. X times 1 gives us 1x. X times 2 gives us 2x. And 2 times 1 gives us 2. And so our factors are x plus 2 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. And then what you need to do is set each one, x plus 2 equal to 0 and x plus 1 equal to 0. And then solve for x on each. So minus 2 from both sides, we get x equals negative 2. Minus 1 from both sides, we get x equals negative 1. And so these are the 2 zeros that you need. So then next, turn to problem number 7. And we have a slightly more complicated problem now, in that we no longer have it set equal to 0. So we have 5x squared minus 6x minus 10 is equal to 0. And then, or sorry, not 0, is equal to negative 2. First thing we want to do when we see a quadratic and an equal sign, we want to make sure it's set equal to 0. So we're going to add 2 to both sides. Make sure you're adding it to like terms. And so now you have 5x squared minus 6x minus 8 is equal to 0. Now that's ready to factor and solve. So a equals 5, b equals negative 6, c equals negative 8. We need to find out what multiplies to give us a times c, which 5 times negative 8 is negative 40, but adds to give us b, which is negative 6. So we want one number to be positive and one number to be negative so that we can multiply it to a negative. We want the bigger number to be negative so that when they add up, they get a negative. So we have 1 and negative 40, 2 and negative 20, 3 does not work, 4 and negative 10. Okay, we found what we need. So that's what we're going to use. So to create our box, lead term 5x squared and last term negative 8 go opposite each other. And then the 2 numbers we just picked, 4x, negative 10x. Now GCF the first row, 5x squared and 4x. 5 and 4 have nothing in common, so we're only going to be able to take the x from those. And so that means that 5x has to go here so that we get 5x squared. 4 has to go here. Negative 2 has to go here. And negative 2 times 4 does give us negative 8. So now we have 5x plus 4 times x minus 2 is equal to 0. And then just like before, we take each factor, set each one equal to 0. So 5x plus 4 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. And then solve for x. So subtract 4 from both sides, we get 5x equals negative 4. Divide by 5 on both sides, x equals negative 4 fifths. And over here, x equals 2 when we add 2 to both sides. And so those are our two x-intercepts for this quadratic function right here. All right, and then the third problem is going to be number 11. So move this over. Number 11 gives us 8x squared minus 18x minus 5 is equal to 3x squared plus 5x plus 5. And so what we need to do, remember we cannot start factoring or solving until everything is set equal to 0. So either we need to move everything here over to this side, or we need to move everything here over to this side. I'm going to pick the side that has the bigger x squared coefficient, so I'm going to move everything to this side. So I'm going to subtract 3x squared from both sides. I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides, and I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. And when I do that, 8 minus 3 is 5, x squared. Negative 18 minus 5 is negative 23x. Negative 5 minus 5 is negative 10. Is equal to, those cancel to 0, that cancels to 0, and that cancels to 0. So I'm left with nothing but 0 on that side. Now I can factor this to find my x values. A equals 5, B equals negative 23, C equals negative 10. So what multiplies to give us A times C, 5 times negative 10, but adds to give us B equals negative 23. So again, multiplying one positive and one negative to get a negative, and the bigger number will be negative so that we get a negative 23. So 1 and negative 50, 2 and negative 25, and we've already found the pair we need. So then create our box. 5x squared and negative 10. So our first and last terms. And then 2x and negative 5x. And then GCF. So 5x squared and 2x only have an x in common, which means I have a 5x here and a 2 here. 5x times negative 5 will give us negative 25x, and negative 5 times 2 gives us negative 10, so we know it's good. So now we have 5x plus 2 times x minus 5 is equal to 0. And so, just like with all the others, take each factor, 5x plus 2 equals to 0, x minus 5 equals to 0, and solve for x. So subtract 2 from both sides, divide by 5 on both sides, you get negative 2 fifths here. Add 5 on both sides, you get x equals 5 there, and so there are your solutions. So I want to show you how you can check your work to make sure it's good, even if you don't have the answer key with you. So everyone should have Desmos on their phone or on their home computer. So here's my Desmos on my phone. If I put in the problem exactly as it's given, 8x squared minus 18x minus 5 equals 3x squared plus 5x plus 5. As you can see, it's already going to give me these two things. We have 5, which happens to be one of our solutions, and negative 0.4, which happens to be the other solution. So that shows you right there. You can use graphing to solve this pretty quickly. But you can also take that equation that's set equal to 0. If you just did 5x squared minus 23x minus 10, you have this parabola, and you can find the x-intercepts pretty quickly. And you'll see that it matches. So that's how you can do it. Let me know if you have any questions. Please show up for tutoring.